Guys, I'm having a real problem with these slides. Every time I put them in, they seem to just seize up. I'm not having good luck with them. So what I think I'm gonna do, and I don't know why, but you know, I talked about this rubber gasket seal on the end here. I'm gonna wipe it all down, get all the white lithium grease off. I'm gonna leave it on this one because that's what always works for me on these. But since this rubber seal's in there, I think what I'm going to do is use the red rubber grease that comes with the rebuild kit from Brake Crafters. I just feel like this rubber is just seizing up in there and it's really just not working. So I'm going to use the red rubber grease just on this slide and see if it does any better. I got to wipe off all the, this is oil based, petroleum based. So I got to wipe all this down, get it off so it doesn't mix. Get everything out of this hole. Make sure it's all ready to go. I think, and I'm hoping, that solves the problem. All right, so I don't know what's going on here, guys. If you have any pointers or anything for me, I've never done a Yamaha caliper, and these rubber gaskets on the end are messing me up. So if I put this in here by itself, so we don't have the other slide in, and I push it in, it's like it's getting airlocked in there. What do I have to do? I mean, maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm just ready to take those gaskets off. Maybe they're just too big. Maybe they're swelled up. Maybe they're bad. But I have not seen anywhere to buy them. So there's a slot in this gasket. It's right there. It's not going to focus. There it is. See that? There's a slot. So I assume that's to let air through. But why isn't it letting air through? I don't know. These are the most difficult gaskets or calipers I've ever rebuilt. So there you go. It seems to be sliding better, but not when I put this and that one in. And look, here I have an old one. No, wait, is this the old one that works? This is the old one that works. This one works, and I've been trying to compare the two. Let's see. This one slides. See, this one slides and doesn't vapor lock or air lock. So I actually need to go find, no, this was off of a Virago, I think. I'll have to figure that out. But I think I only have one that actually works. Because I didn't take them off the running barn find, but I did take the Virago. I believe this is a Virago. And I did take them off of the other parts bike. And I've been wailing with this on a with a hammer on this thing, and it won't budge. So these are seized. And I'll probably just have to run that through a ultrasonic cleaner or something. And that's going to ruin those inner gaskets, those rubber O-rings. So anyway, I don't know. I'm at a loss for this, and I don't have a good video to make you, showing you how to put them all back together. I started and got to this point, and I'm just frustrated with it, and I can't get it finished. So look, that shouldn't be pushing out like that. It should slide good, which it is, but I shouldn't be able to it shouldn't be giving me issues. Oh, look, I don't even have the dust covers on right now. Like if I put them both in, try and get them to line up, it seizes up. Like both of them do not want to go in and out. And I basically lock them in there. It doesn't want to run. It's not good, guys. Guys, I'm trying to push past this, but all I'm getting, now I did use the red rubber grease that came with the Brake Crafters. So I stuck that in here without the boots. And once you get past like this point where it's actually supposed to be sitting, it does move a little bit. So I think we're okay there. I still have the white petroleum or the white lithium grease on this one just because there's no rubber seal on the inside. But what I think is happening is we're getting airlock in here, and you gotta push past that air, because if I push this in, I probably can't do it with one hand. All it does is push back. Yeah, you can't really see it with one hand, but I'm forcing it in there, and I was told you can kind of get in the boot and release the air pressure. But man, I think I'm going to use a C-clamp and try and get this pushed. So the air has to come out of here, but we have that rubber seal with just that one little groove in it, and it's just, see, there's the rubber seal. And I'm cleaning this off, cleaning the lithium off of it, the lithium grease. But look, there's that one little seal, which I think is supposed to relieve the air. And I don't know, you get grease in there, and then it doesn't work. So it's just a pain in the butt. So we got to get the air out of here to get past this point. And then it'll be inside, and it'll work, right? So I think I'm going to use a C-clamp and try and see if I can push it with more force than the air. Maybe an air will find its way out. All right, so I did get it pushed in. I used a C-clamp on this, and we're in a point where it is sliding. So it's in where it needs to be. It's sliding, and I'm happy with that. Interesting thing, I put a C-clamp on both of these, pushed them in. What ended up happening was, apparently, where this boot sits is a pressed-in fitting, and the pressed-in fitting actually pushed itself out. So here's my boot that's supposed to keep dirt and moisture out of there, and I didn't know there was a fitting in there. But that's where our boot sits, and the fitting pushed out with all the air. So now I guess if I just push this back in, I guess that's how we sit, guys. I guess I thought just the boot came out, but here there's a metal fitting right there. So hopefully I can squish that back in there, and all is well. So yeah, it's now moving. I don't know why they did this design. I don't know if you can take that rubber thing off and still function. If you can, that might be what I do, because I think all that does is lock air in there. So we got it in there, and I'm going to try and push this back in. And as I said, it's sliding, so that's all I need. Thanks for watching, guys. Oh, we need to put the rest of this back together. Side note for the future, I don't know if this was actually working or if it's just worked on this one, but we still have this one all set up. That's ready to go. This one, I was researching how to shrink rubber, because I thought if I can get this inside, maybe it's just too big, maybe it's swelled, maybe it's old, maybe it's catching in here with the air, maybe it's just getting crimped too much and blocking off all the airways, and that little sucker can't let air out. So researched it, found out you can boil them in water, or you can stick them in the freezer or refrigerator. I left this in the freezer, just the bracket, for, I don't know, 3 days. Didn't need to do that long, but that's what happened. Came out, put a little bit more red rubber grease on the O-rings, and guess what? It pushed in fine. Now it's sliding in place. When you put this bracket on, make sure it's level. You might need to pop it a couple times. But, yep, just for future reference, if you can't get this thing in here without air locking, maybe throw it in the freezer. Get it to shrink down to a smaller size, so then when you put it in here, it's good to go. And don't use petroleum-based grease, because that'll eat up your rubber. It's not good for rubber. So all I got to do this, put these pads in. I already greased up the springs, and I'll grease up my slide, and then we'll be done. All right, so all I'm going to do now, since we have the pads ready to go, we got to, let's see, I polished up the slide pin. I'm going to put a little white lithium grease on that. And then basically all we're doing, we are also going to put some silicone lubricant on the slides or springs or whatever you call them in your business. And that's gonna be way too much, and it's gonna drip everywhere. So just make sure they're all coated. See, way too much. But we're gonna let that sit on those. And then all we need to do is take our pads. And these are matching pads. These are a little thicker than the other ones, so you can tell by checking them like this. Those material are about the same, so I want them about the same. This one is going to go on the inside. You can tell by that. That's going in there on the inside. This one has this bracket on it, anti-squeal bracket, I guess. That's going to go on the outside. And then, basically, oh, I need to put the grease on this. Basically, that goes on the other side. That's the hole it sits in on the other end. That's going to go straight down through, line them up with your pads, go straight through the middle. I'm going to put grease on this, and then you just torque it down with, what was it? 6mm. It's probably still this one. Yep, 6mm hex. So I'm going to grease that up and then put it down through. And there we go. So torque that down with a 6mm hex. That goes the whole way through. When you're putting in your pads, you might have to push them down a little bit on the spring or the clip down there, whatever you want to call it. And the shim, the washer, whatever they call it. And basically, this is moving. I did try to press that little sucker back in, but it really, I don't know if it's going to stay or not. I'm not sure if you can even replace that at this point. So be careful what you do. So I did use the C-clamp there and try and push the whole thing down in, because if you take it off, I'm going to have the same issue again. So just don't do what I did and try to use too much force there, because the air inside pushed that fitting right out. But anyway, hopefully you don't have the issues I do. If you have any pointers for me, let me know. Sorry this got long, but I had issues. And this is cleaned, rebuilt, and should be good to go. Basically, all we want to do now is put the banjo bolt back in, and we got to set it up on the bike. So that's rebuilding this sucker, and hopefully all is well and good to go. You could use new pads, but in this case, these are good, and I deglazed them, and they're all ready to go. So there you go, rebuilt XJ750 brake caliper. And we got to put this one together too. Hopefully all is well. I did clean out this sucker. I'm going to try and do it right on this side. See you guys later.